Say hi. It's
yes,
the Wild
we are.
Girls.
Hello.
Hi, BLiveMedia, everybody. We've probably not seen some of our shows because we haven't come together collectively yet, have we? Is this our first BLiveMedia one? The second.
You were there last week, right?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. Thing happening.
This is our first public one, right? This is our first public one.
Wait, you did an eye tutorial with your makeup last week.
I did, yeah. I wasn't sure where it went out to. Right, so yeah. we are the Wild Girls, and that stands for girls, wonderful
women of wonder.
Women of wonder and women of wisdom. We're going to be collectively doing new shows each week. So we've got a whole load of topics that we can choose from, varied from some quite fun, personal, witty, and some learning projects. So today is going to be about internet safety and what we need to be aware of as human beings, not just parents, but as adults for our children and for ourselves, on what we can do to be more aware about internet safety. So this is just one of our topics, and it's quite dear to our heart because we thought we were quite savvy adults, and then it turned out that we somehow got lured, I would say, into a group on the internet, on Facebook, which is actually quite easy to happen. And then once you get into groups on Facebook, then the real reveal begins. Now, some of those things are fabulous. We collaborate and, things get done, you make friends. And other times, it can be very unfortunate because we can be embroiled, or what word would you use, girls? You'd be lured into
Shanghai
that you wouldn't necessarily want to join if you knew what that group was about. So I think, who shall we choose? Okay, we'll choose Bridgetti.
It's like Russian roulette here.
Yeah, it is.
Hi, Adam. Hi, Mike.
We all have experiences of how we became into this group in the first place. So I'll start with mine. Mine was two people, a man and a woman, who I had not become friends with on Facebook. The man sent me just this ad hoc messenger, and we got chatting. Now, here's the thing. When you're an internet marketer or you become quite social on Facebook, you begin to open yourself up to be chatty to anyone, because you form, you get to know what their needs are, if they want you for business, if they're looking for friendship. So you're open to learning about new people. You don't close yourself in. So this was the first thing, really, being open to talking to someone that I didn't know, which I'm used to doing. So when this person, I nearly said her name, when this person came on, he was vibrant, chatty, a bit, out there with his personality. And I like people like that. I resonate to someone who's a bit crazy. I wonder why I'm friends with you guys. Yeah. But I love zany people, someone a bit just off the head, just a bit out there. And he was like that on the messenger. And he was American, so I kind of expect that you're all sort of a bit hyper and
mental.
So I thought, I love this. It's okay to be friends with this person. But then I noticed it was structured. The message was structured, because a woman then messaged me, and she was trying to get to know me as well. And then the guy said, I have my friend messaging you as well, because I've told her that I'm speaking to you and that you are okay. So that was my first alarm bell. My first alarm bell was, hold on, this has been a very manipulated messenger. These two people have chosen me, not randomly. They've chosen me specifically to become friends with. And then they added me into a group which I didn't ask to be added to. Again, I get added to a lot of groups, and it's all about collaboration, helping each other to work on, you know, subjects and things like that. So again, I thought, well, it's okay. I will join the group and see what's happening.
Nazim is asking if he was a chatbot.
If it was what, sorry?
If he was a chatbot.
What's a chatbot? I'm from the UK. I don't know what a chatbot
What is a chatbot?
So no, it wasn't a chatbot. So basically, like spam and stuff like that, there's actually bots that go and communicate with you or spam your account, stuff like that. So no, this is actually a real person.
It's a real person. He's highly active.
Kind of.
Okay, that's
he won't show his face on camera. So
whoa.
That's a good point. Is he a real person? We teach our children to make sure that the people on their Facebook are who they say they are. Now, your question has highlighted another alarm bell, which I felt at the time. This person wouldn't come on camera. There is a photograph of him on the Facebook, but that could be anybody. And once we joined the group chat, there was no interaction with videos. Now, as you girls know, we interact on chat every day, and we don't mind going on videos, showing each other who we are and voice messages. But this person is adamant that he doesn't ever need to be seen. So there was a lot of other alarm bells after that. And to be honest, I stayed in the group because I was worried for the other women in the group, and how strange that we should all be chosen as women. So there was a man and a woman who were organising this group, and they threw us all in together. So Bridgetti, how did you end up in this the group that we shouldn't have been in?
Well, Donna-Marie, my experience was pretty much similar to yours, you know, and I share your sentiments from the perspective that when you have online interaction, you want to be, you know, as open, as friendly as possible for collaboration. And so when someone approaches you and suggests that you collaborate, you agree, because until, you know, there's a reason for you not to trust someone, you are going to give the person the benefit of the doubt and trust that person until they prove otherwise. And my experience was very similar to yours in that this gentleman approached me, made an appointment for me to speak with him. And I agreed to that because I'm open to collaboration. And when it got closer to the time for this meeting to take place, I was advised that the conversation I had with him was shared with his partner, who was a female. And I think because he was a gentleman and he said his partner was a woman, that kind of made me feel safe, I guess, to a certain extent. And then, you know, when we had the conversation and we were getting into it, I was advised that this conversation was being recorded. I didn't know, you know, I think I was so flabbergasted at the time that it didn't quite sink in. It felt a little bit overwhelming for me to get this when I'm already kind of in the conversation. You know, I didn't really have time to consider the impact of being recorded. And so I'm saying, or I'm feeling that I didn't really make an informed decision at that time about whether or not I was being recorded, because I got caught off guard completely. And it can happen just like that, you know, because like I said, I had no reason to mistrust this person. In fact, the person asked me, and I must be honest, you know, I've never in my life ever come across someone who, at their very first meeting with me, now I've seen this person online previously, you know, and so when he approached me, I really had no reason to mistrust him. But I have to say, in all my encounters, I've never, ever come across someone who pointedly asked me and demanded of me an answer as to whether or not I trust them. It was kind of an odd question. And I thought, okay, well, let's go with the flow and just hear where this is going. And I said yes, you know, because I thought, well, until the person gives me a reason not to trust him, I guess I've got no reason to doubt his sincerity on that. So the next thing I knew, I was invited into a group with other people. And my experience was similar to what Donna Marie said. You know, conversations in there, everyone that was in the group, you know, all the ladies were sharing and they were encouraged to share. But this guy wasn't doing the kind of sharing he was encouraging the rest of the ladies to do. And I felt uncomfortable about it because I don't really know what it was, but I just had a queasy feeling and I started holding back. You know, I didn't overshare. I shared only what was absolutely necessary because I kept thinking, you know, I wonder to what extent the other ladies are going to be willing to share, how far they will go. What is this gentleman's motives with this? Because the initial reason why I personally was invited into that group never seemed to pan out. You know, conversations were random, general. It had nothing to do with the reason for which I initially was invited into that group. I don't know if you guys felt similarly.
Donna-Marie.
Yeah, would you agree as well that the conversations that he had, or his mentorship as he liked to sort of see it, which it wasn't mentorship, but it went into a loop. It was like a cassette playing over and over again. So the guy spoke the same things with the exact same words over and over again, but spoke about them as if they were fresh.
Like it was a script. So you had held up a question earlier, Donna-Marie, and they were asking what the question said because I couldn't see it.
The question was, because I knew Bridgetti was going to say, the first initial questions that they asked me was, do you trust me? Yes or no? Now,
like you couldn't go into, you know, like the level of trust or anything like that. You had to say yes or no. That's it.
And if you tried to explain, he'd say no, yes or no. Like you weren't allowed any more information.
Yeah, and plus, it was almost as if, well, you had to say yes, because he would imply that if you said no, you weren't a fit for the group. So even though I'm not one to be told what to do, and I'm quite feisty, but I was doing things to see what his agenda was. What's the motive with these people? What's his agenda? And how can I stay in this group to look after the other women?
Yes.
What's he going to do with these women? And how can I protect them? And how can I warn them? Because at that time, I thought I was the only person that felt these big alarm bells. I would have just left.
I think we all thought we were the only people that had the big alarm. So there's a bunch of questions coming out. First of all, they want to know, like, if we were in this guy's circle.
We were in
the inner circle.
Inner circle.
But wait, when we first started, okay, so like with me, I'm the same with Donna-Marie. I do network marketing, internet marketing. And so I talk to everybody, and I had no clue who these people were, except for they did run in my circles, but I had just never been in the same area as them when, they were on. And so there was a post on one of my friends' Facebooks, and it was about autism, and my son's autistic. And so the girl had made a comment about what she wished for Christmas. And because her comment moved me, it was about her son who was autistic. I reached out to her and I said, you know what? I totally understand the things that you're going through. If you'd like me to share, I have my story about, our autism journey on YouTube. I'm willing to share that with you. Just contact me.
Woman, was it the woman?
Yeah, the woman is the one that I was talking to. And so she reached out to me and she pulled me into this meeting with the guy. And when he was asking me these questions, do you trust me? Yes or no? In my head, I'm like, well, I trust you so far, so yes. And I had no clue about an inner circle. I had no clue about a group or anything. By the end of the meeting, he says, so are you in? Yes or no? And I'm like, am I into what? Well, I want to know what this thing I'm into is. So yeah, I guess I'm in, just to find out what it is. So it wasn't something like we ran in the same circles or anything like that. It was just random meetings and got pulled in.
So what were the other questions we had as far as having to answer yes or no to meet and fit the criteria of this woman and this man? What were the other questions? So one was, do you trust me? Yes or no? And the other one, do you see me as a friend? That was the other question. Yes or no? And as you can appreciate, there is no yes or no to both of those questions. You can't answer yes or no when you've just met somebody and they're messaging you, asking you that question. It's ridiculous, it's pathetic. But notice how we made a decision to choose to answer that question, just again to protect what's going on, in this group. Because every day he would still say those things and we would answer, and yet all the time in the back of our minds we're thinking, how do I protect these ladies?
Can I be honest?
Yeah,
please.
I would love to
Sarah.
I won't. Oh, you know me. I can't really ignore the whole Sincerely Sarah thing. I would love to sit here and say I was so onto him, and I smelt his crap a mile off, but I actually didn't. If I'm fully honest, and just being really humble, I was sucked in, and I met him maybe a year before you guys did, or maybe over a year.
I did at least a year ago.
Yeah, and I, yeah, well, and I,
Me too.
You did? Yeah. And I just had a baby and I was stuck at home and I had nowhere to go. But then I found it was actually on Blab, where I first was connected with this person. And, it brought up a lot of issues to me when this all unraveled, and it turned out he might not have been who he said he was, because it really made me realize I wanted to trust him, I wanted to have an older man who would speak into my life, and he spoke such great things to me, which I'm now so much wiser about, but it took this experience for me to learn. He was so encouraging. He listened to my story. Then when other people came on to a conversation, he would speak really highly of me. And I was in a place, you've just had a baby, you feel a bit invisible. And I feel like maybe he knew that that's where I was at. And he kind of took advantage of it. And I did I'm like you girls, until you give me, well, maybe not, but until someone gives me a reason not to trust them, I'll give them as much trust as I think is reasonable. I'm not going to go giving you my passwords to anything. But Emily?
I'm sorry. Carlos is asking if he could join, and I was just wondering if you guys would mind if he joined or not.
Sure.
Well, do we trust him?
I trust Carlos. I do trust Carlos. And also somebody else is asking for a recap of what we're talking about, because they just joined. So can somebody just kind of give us some context of what we're talking about?
Okay,
We're talking about internet safety and not being, taken, knowing what group you're getting into and knowing the people that you are joining in. You need to do your research.
We won't trust you, Carlos.
And
we were all shanghaied.
We're talking about the fact that you can't take someone off face value either.
No.
They can appear, the way they find the people to join them is that they are ever so helpful, ever so polite, friendly, supportive on people's posts. And that's how they generate and find the people that they want to get into. So,
and I guess that's what I'm trying to say is know your vulnerabilities. Like I wish I'd known where I was open to being duped, you know what I mean? Rather than just thinking, oh, no one will ever screw with my head. Like, because I think I have a pretty good head on my shoulders, but this one clearly got me. And I think that's one of the first things is knowing that you can be screwed with. You know what I mean?
You know what I find kind of interesting? I find it interesting, how we were, I guess you could say, bamboozled in a way. Sarah, I'm in the same boat as you. I think I trusted too much, probably because I knew him for a while because of Blab. But, here we are. It's kind of funny. We're talking about internet safety and look how we came together. And, but you get this feeling sometimes. You should always listen to those gut feelings.
Absolutely.
I never had a.
Hey, Carlos.
Hello, Carlos.
Never trust a man who has a naked picture on his Zoom. I'm just saying.
I'm not naked.
All right, Carlos. Hey, Carlos, I just think that you need to do some songs, like Barry White. I think we'd all listen. We love your voice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
You're welcome, baby.
Hi, Carlos. How are you doing?
Hello, Donna. Oh, I finally get to see Donna and end video with her. Anyway, hello everyone, and I appreciate you allowing me to come in. I'm not going to mention his name, of course, but I'll let you guys deal with that. But Donna, do you remember the question that he had asked me? And I think it was about trust, but I don't recall exactly. Do you remember the question?
He asked you quite a few questions. What he does is he edges around. Everything comes back with him to about his own religious beliefs, and he wants you to believe in exactly the same as he believes in. That's his other criteria for you to fit the bill to go into the next inner circle, which nobody's bothered about. But he asked you questions and you gave some wonderful, I can't remember what they were, the answers, but your answers, your way with words, honestly, they were beautiful. There was nothing wrong with your answers at all. And because they were your answers, they were truthful. They were from your heart, your ideas, but he knocked you down and told you were wrong. That you needed to, how does he say, relearn? You need to, can anyone remember the phrase that
I've deleted everything from those two. Like, we keep talking about this man. It's also the woman, so let's not put all the responsibility on him.
Well, okay, she turned out to be his first victim, if you will.
Right.
And she was captivated.
Well, I think it had to do with truth.
Yes.
And so it,
yeah.
His question was, do you believe in truth, or what my different definition of truth was? And is truth either a reality, or is truth the ultimate,
is there an ultimate truth? I think.
Right. And of course my answer was no. So for him, truth is truth. There's no questioning it. There's no it can't be a lie, it can't be wrong, it can't be anything but the truth. And I said, well, that's just not possible. Now, you can take the word truth, look it up in the definition, and it might give you this solid answer. But in reality, truth is not truth. Truth is almost like an opinion. For example, someone's religious faith might be their truth. The earth was created in 5 or 6 days or 7 days. Or my truth could be it took 7 million years or billion years or trillion years. people's truth change based on whatever their life is and things of that nature. So that's kind of like what I was answering. And he was just like, that's not possible. You know, truth is truth is truth. By the definition of the word, truth is. Go ahead, Donna. I'm sorry.
So, Carlos, would you agree? Because you knew this person before.
Yes.
You said that you knew of his character from Blab, and you kind of had that experience before, where you know how he's going to treat people. And plus, you're a man, and he doesn't like dealing with men.
Yeah, I want to know your take on it, because we know all of our take on it. So what's a guy's viewpoint, you know?
Well, okay, so he's very subtle and yet blatant. He's very artistic in terms of the structure of his thoughts. And he's very articulate to some extent, even though in his limited definitions of life and meaning. And he's defined in a very structured building, and he wants to welcome you in that building. And you have to believe that those walls and the pillars of that building are the ultimate end all be all. The problem is that he doesn't believe that other buildings exist. And unless I never chose to challenge him when we were on Blab, because it just felt like a guy who was dancing, and it was very transparent, and people, I thought, was seeing it. I didn't realize that he was actually trying to manipulate an agenda until I was invited to the group by the woman. Now, oddly enough, why, if this was aimed at other women, would the woman invite the Carlos to this environment? And when I came into this environment and realized I was the only guy, and I know other men have been in the group periodically, and I know that a lot of them were challenged, and then eventually they just kind of went away. But when I saw that he was very consistent in his message and very manipulative in his message, I started getting worried, because I realized the women in the group were coming back. And I'm like, okay, they're either listening and getting caught up in it. And so that concerned me a lot. And so that's when I started kind of not answering the way he wanted to answer, because, well, I didn't. At some point, I just didn't want to get into a huge argument, because I don't technically dislike him, but I did feel that mistrust. I did feel that.
Trust him.
Wow, that's a big feeling.
Right.
If you feel mistrust. If
Right.
I feel mistrust about someone, then it follows that I won't like them.
Absolutely.
Is that why you don't like me?
Yeah, 100%. No, I'm just kidding. This whole group right here, including Carlos, has come together through this. So, something good can come through anything, right?
Absolutely.
But there are a couple of questions that are being asked.
Yeah.
So I want to throw all three of them out there, and then we can go ahead and answer them. One, did something negative happen to anyone reporting on this individual? Two, what did the people they are profiling do? And three, how did we all end up getting out of it?
Okay.
Okay, can I answer one thing?
Yeah.
So I did attempt to resolve what had happened in the group. And I specifically asked this gentleman, and it was in writing. I asked the gentleman, I said to him, if I had in any way, shape, or form given you permission to record what I say or what I write within the group, if I'd previously given you that permission, I am now herewith revoking that permission. You no longer have my permission to record what I say or what I do.
Bridgetti, can I just...
This gentleman then turns around, and after agreeing that he will not record me or what I said, he actually goes ahead and still records that and plays that on the internet. And I'm thinking, how thick do you have to be when after you've agreed you will no longer record me as I requested, and you still go ahead and do it. It just blew my mind. And at that point, I started doing a little bit more digging. And here's what I found. I found years of recording that this person had done on various people over a number of years. And in almost every conversation, the questions, the techniques, the methods, everything remained consistently the same over a long span of years. And every time you hear the person asking the same questions, the tempo is the same, the conviction is the same, the voice is the same. And you wonder, you start thinking, even if I was teaching for years and I'm teaching the same class for years, I'm not going to use the exact tempo. I'm not going to use the exact phrase. I'm going to switch it up a bit. I'm going to change it a little bit. But for someone to remain so consistent over so many years is scary.
Mm-hmm. He's using methods of neuro-linguistic programming.
Yeah. Right.
So the tone, the consistency, it's supposed to penetrate your brain. It's supposed to, theoretically, it's supposed to.
It's a little bit of hypnosis.
Exactly.
Yep.
But there's evidence that he has training in that, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, and Bridgetti also, I think, found she was warned by someone to stay away from him. Yep, and she let all of us know when we started kind of doing some investigation.
Well, after a few times that I've met, that I went into this group, I did start reaching out through DM just to make sure that people were not overly caught up in it. I believe maybe with Donna, possibly with Emily.
I kept questioning you. I'm like, what do you know about this guy? What do you know about this girl? And you're just like, oh, they're okay. I'm like, are you serious right now?
Because they're well-seasoned older adults who, other women, it's worrying because other women may warm to these people because they appear, she's got a child, she's a mother, she's there saying that she wants to help people, help other women and so on.
Right, and that's his crutch. That allows him to penetrate even further.
Yeah, because he won't come on camera, he won't show himself. We don't know whether that photo of him is actually him.
We don't know if he's naked back there just watching these women doing whatever.
Well, I'll tell you what got me the other week. I went to a friend's house. We were just doing some recording, singing, playing around. And he said, have a look at this. I've got this new equipment. And he showed me how he could change my voice. So I could be a kid. I could be a deep voice. I could be a man. And
wow.
I'm playing with this thing. And I'm thinking, all of a sudden, this person came in my head. And I thought, hold on. What if he's doing that? What if the voice he chooses as the great Wizard of Oz is not actually his voice?
Well, it is his voice. I have seen him, I think, once, maybe twice.
You've seen him in person?
Speak up, Sarah. You just have to go boom.
Early days.
Okay.
So the hand thing's out the window.
Yeah. So Sarah wants to talk. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Bob just keeps asking. A few people have asked, did these people do anything wrong, or did they harm anyone?
Yes.
What's your lady's answer to that?
Well, I think
not physically. It would be mental and emotional. That would be the harm that was done. Yeah, I would say.
Honestly,
and I would say a form of bullying as well, because it's manipulation. To use your information that you have given in a private setting. I'm talking to all the other ladies, they're talking to me. We think we're having a private conversation. At no point was I asked
about recording.
I never gave my permission for any of our conversations to be recorded. And that is
It's a civil rights violation.
It's gone out of the bounds, and he has used our information, all of the chats. I know I've seen Bridgetti's, the video he's made on Bridgetti. The lady has made the video with him. It's not just him. And he's shown Bridgetti's private messages off Facebook, every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and not only that, okay, so, and he's done, like, he's slandered a bunch of us. He did a whole, like, show,
yes.
I'm in a cult, and I'm just, like, totally ran myself down. But if you look at the lady that is working with him, when we first got into this group, she was herself. She would speak her mind. And since then, she's actually started to sound exactly like him, using the same phrases, the same words, the same inflections, everything. Maria.
And that's probably what he wanted to do with us.
Mm-hmm.
Is he wanted to mold us into what he molded her.
Yeah. So just to kind of clarify, so he uses forms of manipulation. He uses ways. But
sorry, Carlos. I think Mary was going to.
No, go ahead, Carlos.
Carlos will talk all the time.
Yeah.
That's my way of manipulating. No, I'm kidding.
Come on, Daddy. Let's hear you.
And so, and so, the thing is, when everybody just decided to figure him out and then kind of go against the grain with him, that's when he would then turn on you, and basically make efforts, very much like Scientology would do. Now, we're not saying this is Scientology by any means, but there's elements that you can see where there's the manipulation. If you don't believe the way I believe, then you don't exist. You're not in my circle. And then at that point is when he starts to type of throw a lot of negativity out there towards each individual person.
I do want to say that, you know what, the way at least I'm seeing that it kind of ended, at least for me, and I think probably really how we all came together, is that we got too chatty for him in the group, because we were speaking about things that he didn't want us to talk about. It's like, no, we're not talking personal here. This is my agenda and you guys are not following it. And I don't know exactly what his reasoning was, but it just kind of, I think it started to fall apart. And at that point he decided to start, nope, you don't fit here. You don't fit. You're kicked out, with no words, no nothing.
Probably now we are quite feisty in our opinions, and I don't actually think he could handle us.
He really can, especially me and Donna-Marie, for sure. Mary, you've had your hand up forever. Go ahead.
Okay, so my experience has been a little different, because I knew one of these people personally way before all of this started. And that has made this a very difficult situation, because we had a common denominator that brought us together. And I knew her personally before all this change happened. I came on as a favor to just kind of check it out, because of the favor that she felt towards him. But I had alarm bells. I had told her from almost, 8 months prior to, okay, this sounds really fishy. You got to really follow your gut instinct. So I came in kind of a little bit differently than everyone else did. And this has been sort of personal. We were all, and I'm going to use this word, even though there seems to be confusion on the other side, kicked out because, and I'm going to say it again, it was what showed up on the screen. So we were all kicked out over a situation that happened with no explanation. And then we all kind of came, I remember I messaged Emily right away. I said, Emily, we need to start a group, because the women in this group we've all kind of come to depend on each other for support, and we've kind of blossomed into friendship. So we need to start a group with just the 6 of us. And so that's how we came back together.
Well, who emailed, or who actually messaged who first?
I remember I messaged a few people as well.
I reached out to Emily and I think Kathy. But they've gone on to, I reached out and asked for explanations for all 6 of us, because I knew how upset everybody was going to be. So I took it upon myself to immediately, which I was reached out to, and I turned around and reached out back. and asked, I think it took a week or two of asking both of them questions, trying to find out what exactly happened, to no avail. Nothing was answered. Everything was scooted around. It happened to Bridgetti as well. So when they have then gone on and done audio about all of us and put it on YouTube for the whole world to hear, the truth is, I'm a walker of truth. I think everybody pretty much in this group is. But the walker.
But is your truth my truth? No, I'm kidding.
No, my truth is the truth. Okay. So, you know, to go and talk about people when you're representing a group saying, you know, we don't talk about people behind their back. We talk about them in front of their back or whatever. You know, I'm sorry, but, you know, you can't go and talk about people behind their back and not expect some sort of repercussion. I see you, Emily. Okay.
I think we were all psychoanalyzed as well, weren't we? So we were told we're having a meeting. Do you want to hook up on YouTube? What's it called? YouTube? Google Hangouts?
Google Hangouts, I think it was, yeah.
And you would arrive there and you would end up being interviewed by these people. And you didn't know that you were going to be
recorded, yeah.
So Donna-Marie, can you give some things that you think we should all people should look out for? Because even as parents, we have to do that, because I know we haven't really.
Yeah, we got to wrap up. So give us everything that we need to.
Yeah.
Okay. So really what we're saying is internet safety. It's called the web, the big web, for a reason. You know, everything that goes on the internet is caught and kept there forever. It's like a carbon footprint. And I think that when we're involved with joining groups or if we have our own groups and we want someone to be an administrator or something like that, we really do need to choose. We really need to trust these people and know them inside out for having that massive responsibility to become an administrator in your group. That's a big thing. The people on your Facebook, if you don't resonate with them and you find out that their agendas are wrong and that they're not doing good for people in the long run, if you keep them on your Facebook, you're sort of showing other people that you believe in them as a friend, you know, that you trust them. So I had to kick those people off. I wanted to keep them on, to keep an eye on them. So I suppose we could finish by saying, how would we, if we get a friend request, what can we look for to see if that person's genuine or not? How can we accept the person or delete the person? What should we be looking for?
I think if you do end up meeting somebody, be very careful what personal information you decide to give out. Now we ladies, we actually have given out quite a bit of information within our group, you know, and as we feel comfortable, we share more and more. But if there's ever, you know, anything that feels wrong, go by your gut intuition.
Definitely.
I love what Kathy just said there, because one thing that we noticed once we all got together in this side group without those two, every single one of us had a crazy feeling, and we all stuck around because we didn't want the other women to get hurt. And so those feelings that you have, don't ignore them and go ahead and voice them, because chances are you're not the only one feeling the same way.
No, those God alarms inside you.
Yep. All right.
And I would just say maybe don't share more than someone else is willing to share. If you're talking to someone who doesn't want to tell you much, but is asking you a lot, let that be like a red flag not to share.
The first red flag should be the fact that he wasn't on camera.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The other thing is, we ended up doing our own research. I did a lot of research on these people, and the man in particular. There's hundreds of videos of him on YouTube. I've actually gone through quite a lot of hours of watching them, and there's some incriminating stuff which, as a woman, I would not want to be involved with this man. No.
I think you need to tell what the incriminating was. You don't have to, but oh my God.
We have to wrap it up, because we're supposed to stop at like
an hour ago.
2 minutes ago.
So I think from my side, you know, I want to add, go with your gut feeling. If something doesn't feel comfortable, it isn't comfortable.
And we are obviously going to end up in the same kind of circles as these people, you know, internet marketers, people who do live streaming. So we are going to have to carry on working our lives around, you know, these people, but we just don't want to be connected with them. Yeah.
All right, so everybody say goodbye. It was really nice connecting with you. If you found value,
Thank you,
go ahead and
ladies.
share it out.
Thank
We'd
you,
appreciate
Carlos.
that. And we'll be back next Sunday at the same time at 7:30 Central.